There is no good mornings or good afternoons on this one because it's firmly good evening. We're here for a wee bit of Fridays. And hope he's all enjoyed the intro tune. We're here live for the first one. We've got a great casher showing up at the last minute. I hope he's brought his ID with him. But tonight I'm Quinny, of course. And I'm joined by Charlie, McBride Ace, and Lairdino. Laird, good to see you.
Hey.
Someone's audio is really big. Like I can hear someone's like whole room. I don't know if it's just me. But
might be me. Hold on.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's. Can you all hear it fine or not hear fine? I don't know.
I can't hear it.
And stuff, yeah.
It's like someone's mic is like the whole room.
I can't hear it.
I can hear myself echoing.
I hear the echo.
Maybe it's you.
I'll mute myself. It wasn't me. Someone else mute.
I'll mute.
It's you, Charlie.
That's Charlie.
Charlie's on the wrong mic.
Apologies.
I'll let you sort that one out, buddy. But yeah, we're here for a wee bit of Friday night get together. We've had a few streams on the channel where we have had multi-guests on. We've talked about a bunch of different stuff and just quietly shoot the breeze, you know. And I've been missing having a regular stream on the channel that wasn't a deadline show, wasn't a member show or anything like that, where we can just talk about here, there, everything and anything. Thanks to everyone that is joining us live on arrival, of course. There's a bunchies here dropping the fist bumps and smashing that like button. But yeah, guys, thanks a lot for joining me. It means a lot.
I love that intro. Quinny, that was superb. I like it. Is that the new studio with the leather couch and everything? Like, that's class.
Yeah, that's the designs for the Dumbarton boardroom. That's how we're going to have it laid out. Leather everywhere. And pictures of Nicholas with Mbappe and so 5 cards and all the rest of it. But yeah, did you place the song? Have you heard that one before?
Yeah, well, I've heard the original one, but no the actual remix of it. That was really good. It was kind of building up, wasn't it? It was building up. I was looking in the background. I was going, there's Nicholas Julia, there's Mbappe, there's Jota, and there's the star of the show, Callum McGregor's unique in the background. Brilliant. It was really good. I liked it. Good production there, must admit.
Great job, Charlie. Thanks very much, McBride. Laird, you were a wee bit late gate crashing. I don't know if you'd heard the intro tune, but we had a wee bit of Still Dre on the piano. So it was one that I used to use on the channel quite a lot. Yeah. You remember. Do you know, I've mentioned that, Laird, to Charlie, to Harry, and to at least 2 other people. And I was like, do you remember that Still Dre thing? And they're like, no. Laird is the oldest of G's.
I was going to say, take that OG badge away.
That's it. Badge revoked. But yeah, so we got that back on, found a place for it again, because believe it or not, it doesn't break copyright. No YouTube copyright strikes for that, which is fun. And as you know, with a man, Laird is an aficionado when it comes to intro tracks. You know, it's all about finding that copyright-free element.
That's like shocking to me that it doesn't like trigger it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you play it?
No.
Didn't Nellis didn't he? Didn't he have you on a show once and he played it?
Nellis did, you're right.
Yeah. Do you remember John Nellis?
That video, but
I wonder what happened to that guy.
Yeah, it's all been archived. Wonder what did happen to John.
Was he out on his piano, like one of his many talents, giving it?
He had like a keyboard.
Dr. Dre, motherfucker.
You probably said that.
He probably did. And that's why it's not on YouTube anymore.
It's been taken down. Not suitable for kids. This is not made for kids.
True that, indeed. But yeah, good to hear Laird remembers the throwback. Love a bit of that. And for anyone else, there's a few OGs in the chat already. Maybe 1 or 2 of these remember it already. But good intro tune. Always sets the tone. Normally on a Friday, it's a wee bit different at Laird's place. But today it was the number 1 hit that we all love to hear. A wee bit of Sorare Andrews. I did miss it this week, the intro, and I'll be catching up later. But yeah, and I sent into the chat, guys, just some of the main kind of things that have been going on in the week and the month for whatever of Sorare. This international break is just kind of warped time for me. But there's been a few bits and bobs. And I think probably one of the things I would want to kind of chew your ear on or see what you guys' thoughts and feelings around is, despite... let me start with this, actually, right? I was at your place earlier this week, Laird. Me, you, and PSU. And who knows? Who thought I was a poet, eh? Didn't know it. But me, you, and PSU were at your place, and there was a lot of Sorare slander towards they're not going to fly you anywhere, they're not going to put you in a hotel, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. And no word of a lie, I must have been off that for about half an hour, and I got a message from them about the Arabian Nights thing, like to set it up, if you know what I mean, like do a post for it or whatever. And it made me laugh. But Arabian Nights, we're getting hotels, we're getting visas and flights. Could you
Aren't
believe
the flights from Milan?
they're from Milan? Yeah, but don't know if they
Do you
can
live in
commit.
Milan?
No, but I don't know if they can commit to fly from your local airport.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I think my favorite part of that entire conversation was you were like, hey, I have this idea where you can compete in a Sorare tournament. And Sean's like, how about the Playboy Mansion? And it was like, what? Just classic PSU fans taking it just 45 steps higher than it needs to be.
yeah. I didn't really think about it like that. But it was. I did like Sean's insight on it all because he's got a bit. Obviously, he's much closer to like competitive gaming or whatever we would think of it as. You know.
Yeah.
Harry Trades, good to see you, my mate. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. How are we?
Aye, all good in the hood. But outside of the Arabian Nights thing, one of the big things after I came off the data stream earlier this week, which I know is something a lot of people have been talking about, is Sorare quickly, I don't know if we'd say buckled, but quickly bowed to some demand. And we've got a 50k classic competition on the go. So I put that in as one of the kind of main things to maybe have a chew over. Do you think they did make it quite clear it's a one-off, right? But, you know, what do we think? Is it reactive to us? Is it to make us happy? Is it a test? Will we see it more than once? Get Tatos joining us as well. Tatos, good to see you, mate.
Evening all.
But yeah, 50k classic comp, guys. What do we think? How are we feeling?
I mean, it's better than not having a classic comp, isn't it, with Cashin, I guess? But not that we don't have any right now. We obviously have them in D1, but yeah, I think it's a nice thing. I don't think it solves everything, obviously, but it's a nice. If you're asking, is it reactionary? Yeah, I'd probably say it's got to be, hasn't it? Really, it's too much of a coincidence. Like, there's no way it's not. But I mean, yeah, it's better than a kick in the balls, isn't it?
It's a pretty expensive reaction.
I mean, is it though? If they already give away 50k a week in Classic, like you said, like double
Like
it
an
for a
extra
week.
game week, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure they can absorb that.
They're a good unique they haven't sold yet. Sell that and then just pay for the whole thing.
They're giving them away and they for free. Sorry,
No, that's it.
sorry.
That's the word on the street. Why sorry? Who cares? It's not us that's doing it.
No, just a little low blow, but
Unless Harry Trades
Not
is
the-
the mole. It's Harry Trades the Sorare employee amongst us all who's deciding all this stuff. He's because one thing I've been thinking is we do see Nicholas all the time, but the other guy, Adrian, we never see him. Maybe it's Harry.
It's my alias. Harry Trades is just all a smokescreen.
Maybe.
Sorry, Harry, where's your girlfriend? Come on, you've appeared here like we really wanted your girlfriend to be here instead.
Well,
Ex-girlfriend.
she's not my girlfriend.
Oh, she's
So-
not? What's she
No.
doing in Laird's computer then? Sorry. Laird was on her computer. That's
It was a little OnlyFans thing. The Laird's got going in. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorare Data
No,
don't do memberships, they do OnlyFans.
Well, you said paywall. You said paywall stuff. you ask, you get.
That's going to be funny, isn't it? We'll do the big competition. It'll be like everybody's going to go. It's going to be in the Playboy Mansion. We're going to turn up and it's going to be Laird on a computer instead. Fuck. Thought this was it.
The promised land.
The promised land. Yeah. Also, can I just say, I know I'm not running this show, but see, before we started, Quinny turned up and he was on stream and he was eating a McDonald's, right? And I think we should actually do some outtakes because it was actually pretty funny. At one point, he was talking into the mic and he had a bit of fucking Big Mac right down his face and stuff. So I did promise I was going to embarrass him when the stream started. So there we go. That's it.
Cheers to that, mate. As usual, I got roped into something lastminute.com. Had to take the wife somewhere, and then the kids wanted a McDonald's, and then before you know it, half of it's running down my face, and we're a couple of minutes late for the show tonight. But I did get my Magners in. I know McBride's on the beer tonight. I don't know if any of you are. I know it's earlier where Laird and Harry are. Of course, it's maybe not quite drink o'clock yet. But Wayne, you're on something, are you? What have you got, Wayne?
Oh, only a Budweiser tonight.
Only a bud. Keeping it light.
Keeping it light. Work tomorrow.
Yeah. Good to see you as well, mate. First time we've had you on the channel in a wee while. It's been a minute.
First time I've actually been live. I've made a lot of Sorare content, but I've never actually gone live. So I wasn't sure if I was actually set up right. That's why I was late getting in.
You've been on here live before, have you not?
Nope, never.
I've definitely invited you to stuff. So
you did invite me, and I missed the invite. That was a while ago. Yeah.
I thought you were on. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, that's when you were back in your studio. But yeah, no, it's first time live.
Yeah, great to have you on, mate. Wayne Tatos does some content as well, of course. Hardcore Villa fan as he is. When you see the Villa stacks flying off, Wayne's normally the guy rubbing his hands together and counting his money. But yeah, good to have you on. How did you feel about the classic comp for yourself, Wayne?
Yeah, well, I believe Sorare really clever because I was going to sell my classic cards and then boom, 24 hours later, there's a nice new shiny classic comp, £50,000 prize pool. And yeah, they make you keep your cards. So yeah, it definitely worked for me anyway. So, but see what comes in the gameplay update in February probably, because wasn't there something mentioned in there about the classic competitions as well? So yeah, I just had to buy more in seasons instead of using the money from the classics.
Nice. I was just about to put it on screen there as well, because the classic comp we have is actually anti-stack, so it really doesn't matter what classic cards you had. Really doesn't matter what classic cards you had, you'd definitely be able to play them, and have a chance, because you don't need to worry about playing against the power stacks and all the rest of it. It's the last European game week before some of them go away, because not all of them do. So yeah, definitely helps you keep on to a few of them, like Wayne. I don't know about me if it stopped me selling any. So I think all mine I'm kind of married to at this point. But what about you, Charlie? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, is my mic okay now?
Beautiful, mate.
Oh, great. Yeah. I think the classic one. What I felt about it was, I personally don't really see the point if it's just a one-off. I don't see I know McBride especially was quite outspoken on it as there needs to be cash in classic. I don't see what one competition sometime in December does for long term, that sentiment. Personally.
Yeah.
Yes, fair point.
I'm with you. They did underline it's a one-off, so you don't think it comes back, Charlie?
No. Well, I don't think they would have said it was definitely, because they've not said of anything else. Oh, it's definitely a one-off. They've not said oh, we're just trying it or anything. It's it seems like it's to kind of not, probably using the wrong phrase, but shut people up for a few months.
I think that's the right phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a special, isn't it? It's like let's get to January and then we'll get more news out, and then because the changes will come in February, but they won't tell us about it in February. It will come in January. So my thoughts on it were yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously it's one lineup, so that's kind of fun, but I think people will actually put in-season cards in it as well. So classics are kind of a weird thing, because you would never put an in-season card really usually into classic, but if you have a tournament where it's the biggest one of the biggest cash tournaments of the weekend, people will put their actual in-season cards in it as well. So it's good that it's a sort of free-for-all type tournament and get everybody involved, but it seemed a wee bit reactionary. But yeah, I mean, the pitch notes were good as well, so the overall reaction is better than just ignoring it, but there's bigger work to be done than just a one-off competition, really, to be honest. So
it's 50,000 total though, right? Across the scarcities?
Yeah.
So we don't really know if it's more money than the regular in-season comps. If you had in-season cards, it's possible that the in-season competitions are still a better path to cash than playing classic.
Yeah.
When it's $40,000 to unique and $10,000 to the rest of us.
So you come on a super rare podium and you get a card that you can't even sell for the minimum auction bid. So I mean, Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's like it's a good cash competition, and if you're only putting in one entry each, is like you've got to kind of work that out as well. Because a lot of competitions have got 3 entries, so like total number of actual lineups going to be quite interesting. And oh, nearly broke my computer.
Taking that screenshot again.
I know. I think that people will prioritize it as well. Like if it's like the biggest cash prize of the weekend, even if it's like just the first prize a wee bit higher, then people put their best lineup in it, if you know what I mean. So like my best defender, my best midfielder, my best forward, that type of thing. So but it's fun and it's good to see a bit of reaction. There's no two ways about it, but there's bigger stuff to sort out, obviously, with Classic overall and all the sentiment and everything as well. So anyway, I'm going to fix my computer now.
I was just going to say on that,
Okay.
interesting point there from Laird in terms of how it compares to in season or whatever. The Champions League one, which is just next to it on screen, so it makes it really easy to see, is 30k across the scarcities. So it's kind of like a not quite double what a Champions League is, but it's not too far away from that. So maybe there's a bit of a gauge to be had from that.
I think the thing we'll remember with this, though, is I think with all the specials, what I feel like is it's either everyone's first team or everyone's last team. So you either put all your best guys in or you put a training team in, basically. Whereas I think this one's going to be everyone's best team, so it's going to be quite difficult, you would think.
Yeah. I've kind of found out with the specials, it's first or last, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many people do you reckon play rare? Like, let's say everyone has one each. Are we talking like 5,000?
What was in this week's Catenaccio? Was it like 6, 7?
Oh, was that one entry? Was there?
That was 3 entry. But I would say most people put at least 2 in.
Yeah, but there's no cat. Like what I'm saying is like this is like a nice comp, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know what the actual number ends up being.
I'd say you get 5,000 maybe.
Yeah, it's about right.
Also, it depends how deep they make the pool. Do they make it like top heavy with first place getting 5k or
right,
or 3k or whatever? Or
it'd be quite fun if it was. I know then people would just complain that it is jackpotty, but like you know, like there's no tail or whatever. But you can't win at the end of the day, can you?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I was really surprised when this got announced overall. Like, I just never seen them bowing in any regards to really washing money into Classic like this, even for a stated one-off, because, you know, when I had them on the channel not too long ago, I was kind of talking to them about Super Rare in the same way of just give it more money, you know? Like, and it felt like without them saying that's never going to happen, they were, you know, quite professionally skirting around it, as it were. So, I don't know. I just felt like there's maybe some things they would never move on, and that maybe feels like they've given an inch on something, perhaps that maybe there might be a bit more movement on. But I found it surprising overall. When I seen people in the chat or messaging and stuff like that were saying, "Oh, it's a Classic comp with 50k," I couldn't believe it. It's like Jesus, didn't see that coming. Especially the 6th of December. You know, it's only been announced. It's like, did we get 4 weeks of a heads up for it? Maybe. I'm not sure when it came out.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
Maybe 3 weeks.
It wasn't long at all.
We were supposed to get these calendars like a month ahead of time, and now we're getting them like 8 days early.
Yeah, it came out on the 19th, which was 3 days ago. So it's just under 3 weeks of a heads up, which I guess for Classic, you don't really need to prepare for. The idea is you have them already. You know, you're not going out and buying Classic cards. But in saying that, would you, if you were an in-season guy, buying a Classic team wouldn't be that expensive, would it, these days? Is it worth the kick?
I don't think anyone.
Squeeze?
I don't think any like sole in-season player would additionally buy Classic cards for one tournament.
Yeah, I can probably agree with that. I mean, maybe a little limited. It depends. Like if, let's say the limited jackpots, like I don't know, $4,000, let's just say, or 3, whatever. You could definitely buy a team for a tenner. Do you know what I mean? And it might be okay as well. Like it might not be a terrible team. You know, there might be a little bit of fun in that potentially if you're, you know, a rare player or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, I probably tend to agree there. I can't see many picking them up just for that one specific comp, but be interesting to do if they do ever do. I know they said it's a one-off, but I just mean, yeah, as far as like the reaction goes to that, if there is enough of a, you know, a positive reaction, that they go, oh well, yeah, maybe we'll shot a little bit more, you know, inject a bit in here, and I don't know. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, I don't see what it would bring on from their point of view though. Like, what do they benefit from it? Like, no one's buying cards for it.
Right. I don't mean for that specifically. I mean like just future.
No, I know what you mean, but like even if everyone loves it, and like, why would they be incentivized to do it again?
Well, they're not really
yeah.
outside of the 5% market thing, which they don't really get anyway for the most part. So it's like outside of that, there's not much to it. But I mean, there's a lot of money in sentiment. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it ain't all fucking black and white numbers. At the end of the day, sometimes it's just feelings.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's people buying shit, isn't it? It's not robots. It's us. So I think there's something in that which you can't really quantify. But I mean, yeah, it's really tough to gauge.
Sometimes it's just feelings. I like that.
Feelings, not facts. Always.
Mm-hmm. Mikey Baston's got a great one here. You can't win at the end of the day is my Sorare motto. It's a good one. And Russ is in here as well, live on X. Fist bump to you, mate. Thanks very much. And he's saying, do you think maybe the slight surge in like the football manager games, MFL and Footium, has maybe got them to, oh crap, we better not like lose users and lose cash to these guys? I'm not sure. Thoughts?
Nah.
I don't think they're direct competitors, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think UC, something like UC was, but like, I think they're completely separate games, personally. It's like FIFA and Football Manager. They're not.
The money's coming from the same people, though. It's not about the games being the same or different. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you got 100 quid, where's it going, basically, is the question.
Yeah.
If you're into these type of games, it's not so much like the games being different. It's more like, yeah, where's your money better spent is effectively the question, I think.
And time.
And time?
Yeah.
Or lack of, or...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. Definitely.
It's quite a weird world, isn't it? Like, people are spending more money on fictional players than they are on actual real life licensed players. You'll Never Walk Alone has gone rogue. He's sold his gallery for 8, but take off one of the 8s, and he's playing Footium, and he's about to line up his legal expenses, and it's just weird, isn't it? It's just everybody's laughing, right? But Sorare started as a crypto game, and I feel as if we're in this weird bit in the middle where, like, obviously Laird's here, and he always values things or takes Ethereum, and then most of the other people on the platform are playing with a cash wallet, but they don't actually work together. So Martin lists a card and everybody goes, yes, we want that card from Martin Laird, but you can't buy it because you've only got cash. So it's just a weird place to be in. I'm finding it totally weird that crypto and everything's all going daft, and people are playing these games, they're buying fake football players, but they don't want to actually buy players in Sorare. Like, it's mad.
It was a wee bit eye-catching when you see those OpenSea transactions for some of the Footium cards. They were going for like quite eye-watering prices, a few of them, weren't they?
That's what used to happen on Sorare. Quinny used to go into... Somebody developed a thing, and it was like it might have been Sorare Data, actually. It was like a player tracker, and you went onto Twitter, and you followed it, and it was like, this transaction has gone through, and it was like a ticker, and it was like, somebody's paid like five Ethereum for Mbappe, and like, that point that was like obviously 20 grand or something. It was different valuation level. So
I was looking at that, like the Twitter account's still out there. It's called I was looking at it the other day. I specifically remember when it used to trigger every time a card was sold for, I think we started at $100 and then we had to increase it. That's it right there. Yeah. And I remember the day we had to change it from 500 to 1,000 because it was at 500. It was just like every second, and it would just kept going.
Yeah.
And we had to change it so it wasn't like spamming people's accounts. But yeah, that's it right there.
Shogo Taniguchi. By Pizza Man's.
Yeah, $1,000 for a rare card of Shogo Taniguchi. There's some wild, like
some wild, some.
I'm waiting to see your name, McBride. That's what I'm looking for.
Listen. At that point, I would have been the biscuit tin was family shot. At that point, like I was still buying under 23s for 50 quid. So
Back in the good old days.
I
Pedro
see
Santos.
you see a Philip Max unique. I don't know what time frame this is, but yeah, there could be someone there. But
Here's a good one. Santi Rodriguez rare. 1.19 ETH.
3 of 100 as well. Early mint.
That's fun. I forgot all about this account.
Mario,
But yeah, this used to be like dominate the timeline, didn't it, Big Bride?
yeah.
I was still wanting to buy a Mario Kart Super Rare like last year, like because like you still get that thought in your mind, don't you? Like that guy went for $5,000 and like aye.
Quinny, that's a limited card.
Jesus.
Oh, so it is. I was going to say Meow Meow 7 feels like another A.J. alt account or something, you know. What was the last one? Wenmoon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Meow Meow. I don't know why that made me think of him. Nanzo. There's a name that we know.
Mhm.
Cockchew 1.7. Oh, that's a unique but.
No. Not Cockchew.
Yeah, that's the goalie.
Cockchew.
Oh, so it is.
He's a Footian player.
Wow, yeah, limited talent as well. It's a bit of a rabbit hole, that account. But anyway, yeah, no McBride transactions on it, but definitely a few.
Thank fuck for that. I don't know if the wife's watching. She's downstairs. She's probably like going. Anyway.
And MDK here with the unique Haaland shout. We were at Laird's Place for that. There was definitely a very memorable stream, a great day for all. And Finlay Lion in here saying he reckons, I was talking with Josh a little bit here as well, but what was Josh? Oh yeah, this is the one I actually meant to bring up, sorry. But yeah, people are likening the kind of sentiment around it and all that kind of stuff. I can understand that, I suppose. But I miss the Sorare data auction streams. I think Sorare missed them as well, to be honest.
That I told somebody the other day that Haaland one was peak Sorare. Like that day when Mark dropped that one bid at the end where we all like lost it, and then I don't even remember who won it now. Zima Blue, is that who it was?
Zima,
yeah. And then when he went even higher, and we were just like, man, that was peak Sorare right there.
The main thing I remember from that is after he won the auction, everyone just made fun of him for being, why is he so stupid to buy that? He can't even use it. And everyone's just making fun of him. Like, Jesus.
He doesn't have to go with it. Like, yeah.
Well, I remember Mark talking about it before the auction. He was like, whoever buys it needs to realize that they have to have the cards to play with it. And then Zima Blue bought it. And we were like, oh, what lineups? I'm not even sure he could have made a unique lineup at the time. And we were like, oh, that's a big one to buy to start your journey into unique. But
yeah, definitely is a throwback. And a stream that you should all check out if you haven't already, if you need to kill some time or download before you go traveling or something like that. Because, peak Sorare, a wee bit timeless, you might say, to some regard or not. I think as well, like alongside the classic thing, we've had that kind of nudge in the last announcement that, remember everyone, there's 2 windows that we can change stuff. Don't forget, there's only 2 of them. We can't change anything yet, but we change something if we do.
And we just change our mind and we just
maybe.
Sorry, we fucked that up, so we're just going to change it now. Tomorrow. Sorry. On you go, Quinny.
No, that's fine. But I think they're quite quick to remind us, because I think a lot of people do think that they're shouting into the abyss and that no one's listening to them. And so they're just like blind and just waking up every morning and just going, oh, everything's great, and just carrying on. With that kind of upcoming change in February, we've seen the kind of classic thing with the 50k comp anti-stack early mid-December. But there is a lot of chat around Essence. We've also had the boxes like properly nerfed. And when it comes to any future kind of balances, I don't think any serious ones will happen until probably the next year. But I would expect some sort of kind of interim thing to maybe roll on in February with them kind of underlining that again in the pitch notes for the latest kind of little report thing we've got. What changes could they actually make to Essence mid-season that would make people happy?
OnlyFans account with Lardino. I think free membership to the new Lardino stream, daily stream. Sorry.
Yeah, nothing obvious, I think, is what that tells you. I think, like, they have nerfed the boxes so hard. Do we get a full-on, like, U-turn on that? Do you think they just go back and go, for the last little bit of the season, there's no more one essence at the very least, just do away with the one essence and maybe lift it up a little bit? Or is it too far gone for that?
I can't see them doing anything drastic till the start of next season, like European-wise. Like, I think they need something else in boxes, like they've been talking about for a while that they haven't seemed to be done. But like, there needs to be just something else other than essence and level ups or market credits. I don't know what that is, but
there's jerseys and stuff in it. I mean, I don't know how many jerseys they have, but just making it a wee bit more exciting.
Even if they do something like jersey essence, if you know what I mean, like collect 50 of these little jersey tokens to get a jersey, something like that.
Yeah, obviously if you give like a 0.5% chance of winning something, then there's going to be a couple of people coming on Twitter and saying, yeah, I got like 100 essence or whatever, but it just doesn't. It feels as if the baseline's quite low just now, and obviously the season started quite quickly, so there's, it's hard to reverse that. But I think like February does help a wee bit because you've got the MLS coming out, and obviously the MLS is like a really important league over the summer and stuff, so you can start repairing that a wee bit. It's not all just about Europe because over the summer it's about the summer leagues really, and you've got a Club World Cup next year, and does anybody really give a shit about that? I don't know. It's just one of those things, but you want to kind of make it a wee bit more exciting. It feels at the moment like midweek you only win level ups or 1 or 2 essence, and any level that is like miles off even getting a tier 5 or a tier 5 plus, so it's not really that valuable. So what can you give out? I mean, the best of Europe at the moment is really, it's quite a fun overall tournament, but it's all sort of at the 4 common and 1 limited thing, and I think that's been aimed at sort of marketing push for, all right, if you get these 4 guys in but you buy a limited card, you get a better chance. So it's kind of getting people into the game. But at what point do you say, look, they're really good prizes, so let's give them out to the sort of paying customer type thing. So, but what else can Sorare invent? I don't know. That's a difficult point, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. There's a good comment in here saying that it's just coins with an extra step. And I think when I had them on last time, they did say like Essence is the solution to coins. Or they said it somewhere anyway that coins has been shelved because Essence is coins, essentially. Sorry for the horrible sentence there. But I was going to say basically what Mikey's been on to say here. Maybe instead of Essence, they could do like fabric, you get a wee bit of fabric out of the box, and get enough fabric, you'll make a shirt or whatever. But yeah, I definitely think that kind of thing is probably something we could see happen because they did kind of say like the shop is gone. We've obviously spent all our coins. They did all that stuff. And the only other way to distribute this stuff would be some sort of inbox reward of some sort outside of the big glamour stuff that you're talking about, McBride, Arabian Nights and the best of Europe and all the kind of top ones. But even just all that other mid-range stuff, and I say mid-range because it's still really cool, but like signed shirts and whatever.
Jersey patches makes too much sense though. It'd have to be like pixie dust in a cauldron that we have to mix together with a mortar and pestle.
Yeah. Or they just would call it Jersey Essence, like everyone in the chat's giving it.
Too easy, too easy.
I still like the relegation and promotion things that Laird talks about, like the whole preventing relegation token situation. I think that's a fun, easy one that doesn't cost anything for them. It's obviously they've got to manage the actual divisions in that sense and make sure there's obviously loads of people are doing the same thing. I don't know how you really manage it, but ultimately that's like they're making that up from thin air. There's no cost to them. There's a benefit to us. That sounds like a win-win. That's what they want. They need to make up things that don't cost money effectively for the most part and wrap it up into something that is a positive for us, which I think that one's actually quite an easy one to do. I don't know how it works like mechanically in the game, but ultimately they're not paying anything for it. That one's an easy one, I think.
I think so. That sounds good. I've never
Also
actually heard
level
her say that
20,
one.
you get like all the way up to level 20 straight away. So you get like 20,000 XP in one or whatever it is to get your card to level 20. That would be like obviously very, very small percentage, but there's just no I agree with the chat. Like there's not that much excitement opening these boxes. Like early on when they first came out, there was a lot of excitement because the cards were in the boxes, wasn't it? That was the big thing. It was like you could pull a card out of a box. That's where the virality comes out of like content per se. But there's no loop now, is there really? Like outside of crafting the card, but you ain't doing that every week. Not many are anyway. So there's a really tough balance to be had. But I definitely think they need a mechanism that just makes it fun again, basically.
Put some cash in. Just say like there's 2 prizes, 3 prizes, like $1,000, 500, 250 or whatever, and just like it's a bit of a lottery. Like I don't know. I think the problem is the baseline's like pretty shit. So like nobody's really winning the sort of the big prizes or whatever. So it's like if you're getting something good, you'll still stay engaged. But if you're winning like one essence, you're like, like midweeks just now, like it's crap. Like
I think the midweek boxes, and I think it's the same with the special competition boxes. They're all like the same as like 60% chance of one essence. Like personally, like I'd just get rid of them out of midweeks and special competitions and like make the normal ones better. I would personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have we seen anyone win the 200 essence yet?
What?
I've seen like one on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, midweeks are tough to get behind right now, aren't they? Well, they've been for a while, I guess, but more so now than ever.
Yeah, like Charlie's saying, like there's such a small difference that they make by being there. But again, I hear people kind of saying this as well with the whole classic in-season boxes thing. Like in-season, I know it's 50%, but the headcount on those divisions is so much lower that what would that actually materially change for classic? Does it move it from 25% to 30%? 32 or whatever it would be. It's not going to double it to 50 because the numbers don't add up there.
I don't think it needs to go back though. I don't think it needs to go from 25% to 50%. I think it needs to just increase the essence in the 25% boxes. Personally,
like even by taking all the end season away and then just jack those up more. That's what you mean.
Just make the boxes better rather than giving more boxes out.
I don't think you'll see the end season changing soon. The reason for that is that people have bought cards for the whole season. So the worst thing that Sorare could do just now is like fuck over everybody that's actually bought in-season cards, because that's what Sorare want to achieve in terms of they need to actually sell cards to people every season. So I don't think that will change soon, but I wouldn't be against like a change to it if that makes sense, but you've got to leave it until somebody's actually run through the season, because people have put money in or spent money in cards thinking, right, I'm going to play throughout the season like on early access and stuff like that. I don't think that will change soon, honestly. Might change for next season or might be like a different model, but like that would probably be the worst thing they could do right just now is just go and fuck over everybody that's actually spent money this season, because Sorare's problem is that there's loads of people who have classic cards and are used to like doing pretty well, and they expect that they can still win things or whatever, but a lot of them are not willing to actually spend any more money. And like if they maybe changed the thresholds and said, okay, you can still get a threshold, but you need 3 in-season cards or whatever for this now, then that would have been a different model. But the model just now is like obviously in-season cards and cash. And like someone was asking me earlier, like, do you think that people will buy cards next season? Yeah, fucking right about. I mean, because the whole history is so rare, people have chased the actual cash rewards. So the problem with Classic is that people don't want to go and buy Classic cards because they can't win any actual cash there. There's nothing. It's quite hard. It's quite competitive, and in season's really quite competitive now as well. But that's where all the cash is. So next season, like when the cards come out, you can bet your bottom dollar there'll be people sitting there I'll probably one of them. It's people sitting there waiting to buy Celtic cards, and like there will be people want to do that. And the problem for Sorare is what happens like after that. With the sort of after the end season, what's going to happen with the cards then? That's the problem with the model.
Yeah.
I've catched up with some of the comments as well, kind of echo some of the stuff you're saying there, McBride, along with a few other kind of nice suggestions. Ladman's got a decent one here. The whole change of format thing, I struggle to really like get behind right now because I just think you're kind of moving your problems rather than fixing them. I think if you go from SO5 to SO7 or to SO11 or whatever, but a longer tournament, lock the cards in and put them away is an interesting idea. Perhaps it could maybe help a little bit. I do think the sentiment that we've just kind of been striking on there of like less boxes but more powerful or heavier brings back kind of memories to when we first got boxes. When we first got boxes, the boxes were probably kind of about the same as what they were now. But if you got into the box positions, you got 3. You could get 3 boxes, you could get 2 boxes, you could get 1. From one position. So even though it was like 5 essence in a box or whatever, when you're getting 3 of them, it's just. So they've made less boxes, but they've also made more boxes, but then there's less in them. It's like a weird kind of shift of the scales that we've had for the boxes, I think, over the last 11 months or whatever it's been.
Yeah. I think there needs to be some sort of change. Like, or even I think I heard someone say, like, take it out of the bottom division boxes just to try and get people up the divisions.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind it coming out the bottom divisions. I don't mind even like see the tier 5+ craft. Like see if they get rid of that and just made it from tier 4 and above. Now it kind of makes it harder for them to dish out tier 5s that nobody wants to buy. But there's definitely like remove the basement element from this. It would probably help other boxes, other divisions, other things a little bit better. I think maybe.
Or just adjust the odds. Like somebody said, like if you keep going like tier 5, tier 5, tier 5, or like what's the best odds at tier 3 and above? Or I don't know. Just like make the odds more difficult. So if somebody wants to continually like just gamble, don't tell the gambling commission we said that. But if somebody wants to keep like hitting the button type thing, then it's like, yeah, you've got your chance, but you're just burning through all the shite rewards. And then eventually people will kind of save it up. But if you are saving it up, then it's got to be a sort of a long road. And also, I think it will be better than this next season. Like, it started a wee bit in a way that was unsustainable because obviously Sorare fucked it up a bit. But they've got like instant buys and popularity and how well would it work and being cautious and obviously all the different regions and your Premier EPL essence and like contender, and it's obviously quite a complicated conundrum. And then you've also got divisions where like people might save their essence up now and then just try and hit essence at the point where MLS comes back because they've just started. So you've got divisions that don't start at the same time because you've got different like league calendars and stuff. So I mean, they did fuck it up, but it's obviously a really complicated thing to sort of judge. So if it started too quickly, that doesn't mean that next year it might not recover a wee bit. It's just that at the moment, until they're able to fix it, then it's a bit shit. And that's why they've said, yeah, 50,000 competition for Classic, because what they're trying to do just now is kind of nurse people over until the point where they get it right again.
Yeah. Casey's got an interesting one here. I would love a season pass for the players that don't have much capital now. I don't know if this is like Call of Duty Fortnite Battle Pass kind of thing he means. Like, you know, you kind of progress and you kind of progress bar your way through some cards and some level ups or whatever. Or if he wants like an Apple TV subscription. I'm not too sure what he's after. What do you think?
A
Or,
year of no card entry.
oh, yeah. A wee bit of NCE.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Sounds like a progress bar of some sort.
Yeah, like a season
Yeah,
pass
battle
kind of thing.
pass sort of thing. Yeah.
The other thing I had on this kind of hit list for tonight was this mystery Christmas comp in terms of what we think number one, why is it a mystery? Like, why didn't they tell us, really? Like, if they've not figured it out yet, that's what we're all thinking. Yeah. Like, or is there something really cool that they can't legally tell us about until the 11th hour or 2 weeks before or whatever?
Just a Christmas present. It's like you open a Christmas present and you don't know what you're getting. So that's it.
Festive spirit. McBride thinks it's the festive spirit, and never would have guessed that one.
I'm not like, yeah, you open it up and you're like, my granny's bought me socks with Sorare on it.
My thoughts were it would either be one of two things why they haven't told us. It would either be that they can't because it's going to make certain players' prices just go through the roof, or the fact that it might be part of some kind of longer term thing that might be part of like a February update or something that's going to span over. I think that I thought that when you were talking about the World Cup or whatever you were talking about on the Sorare data stream, but it might be part of like this is part one of like a part 3 event sort of thing.
That's a good shout. Any thoughts from you, Wayne?
No, I just was reading Mike Baston's comment in the chat, and I was thinking the same thing. Isn't it only Prem games over Christmas? Is there many other leagues playing?
Scotland, but they're not a real league, so
It finishes Christmas Eve. I think. I'm not sure which games it is.
Oh, sorry. Did Harry just fall off the internet there? Oh, sorry, Harry. Oh, sorry. Did you slip? Oh, there you are, buddy.
hashtag rattled, by the way.
This game week 20 to 24. Now, the last full European one is 6 to 10. After that, I think Germany, Spain. No, maybe not Spain. Two or three of them, the big five, go away after that game week. We will have Scotland. We will have England. There might be like Italy or something like that. There might be one more that just creeps around, but I think that might be Money Mike might have just done it. If anyone's seen Friday, they'll get that one. But yeah, it might be a EPL thing. Doubtful, but it could be a UK thing. But yeah, maybe that's what the secret is. They don't want to piss everyone off that it's Premier League only.
There is still a run of games. There's a Prem slate. It looks like a La Liga slate and a Bundesliga.
Oh, wow.
So we lose Italy and France then after that game week, the 10th of December or something, then maybe.
There is 2 Italy games on the Monday.
Ooh, on the Monday.
I don't really know why. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, most of them are playing then, fair enough.
Yeah, so
or maybe is it the 20th that's the last, maybe that's the, when I did the stream earlier this week, we kind of looked at the fixture calendar. Maybe it's that game week that's the last one where they're all on, but I'm now conflicted. But what was your thoughts, Wayne, when it came out? Did you think that they didn't know what was going on, or did you think their hands were tied? Or
yeah, I think
you let
it's
McBride
just
and just
they
think
can't
that
tell us about the competition yet. Like you said, it could skyrocket prices of players, or some legally they can't tell us. I don't know. Yeah, but it's for a mystery competition. I think it's the first one they've done in it. They've not never announced what a comp is before. So yeah, not sure. Yeah, I thought Prem games, but obviously if there is more European leagues still playing, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, BR4's confirmed that as well. Why did they nerf Essence in the first place? The only people hitting huge cards consistently were the people who had dumped thousands into lineups to acquire Essence for big crafts. I think they kind of... I'll kind of have a take on this, and by all means, everyone else feel free to chime in. But I think they were expecting way more people to hold, and I think like it must be proper RNG, because I remember when they came on the stream and we were talking about the guy that won Saka out of Rivals. And I know he said he was upset because he paid money for it, but you could tell that they're probably upset with it internally. Like, how did a Saka get out of here, alive into Rivals, So I think it was maybe just the machine was too good at being actually properly random, and people were getting some stuff that maybe if you had your hands on the controls, you maybe would have nerfed it a little bit. So they've just went ahead and did the nerf. That's a little bit of what I think, maybe.
It's an interesting one, Quinny. You remember the story about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? So they launched the show and the prize was $1 million. But if someone won the $1 million in the initial shows, then the whole thing would have went bust. So the thing with Chris Tarrant, it was like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and all the theatre and everything. And somebody was going through and they were all sitting in the studio just shitting themselves thinking, if somebody wins this, we're fucked. And that's kind of like, I can't remember what happened. I think the guy got like 500,000 and got the question wrong, so no lifelines left. But literally, that is a true story. If somebody had got to the $1 million, they would have went bust. So like with Essence, like, is it maybe just like a kind of sort of variance thing where they just everybody's always smashing the button or whatever, and like there's been loads of like stars coming out, and the problem with like obviously rare level and everything is there's not enough star players left, so they just don't have a supply. So everybody's all sitting like the ticker used to be bang 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 bang, and like 4 or 5 stars are coming out, and they're looking at us going, shit. It's like not get many of them left, and it's only like September. Like, so that's the problem, right? Like, obviously they were trying not to be too cautious because it wouldn't have been as good, but it's like it's just happened too quickly.
Yeah, I think the main issue was there's no like mathematical incentive to save to the tier 1 or tier whatever. Like if you like say if you like the essence compared to like a tier 1 or star is like the same. If you did like 50 tier 5 pulls, you're averaging the same as like you would as just saving. So I think they were banking on people like saving or at least saving up tier 3, and like everyone's just hitting the button straight away, and they're looking at their graphs or whatever and thinking we're gonna run out in a few months.
I'll just take the stars out of tier 5 or something. Like just say, well, you need to get to like, you can still win good cards, but you've got to get to like tier 3 plus to win a star, and then people will just kind of save it up. And it's the first season, like we're all quite harsh. I'm the worst, but everybody's quite harsh on them. But it's done now, so we're through a lot of the supply, and we're just gonna have to deal with it. So,
any more thoughts on nerf boxes and nerfed essence?
Not really, no. Had to be done, really. No, it's one of them things. Like, I don't think they wanted to do it, but
I certainly didn't want to. You can say that again, for sure. I'm just trying my best. I always like doing these streams, but I don't fancy myself as a host, so I'm always quite conscious that try and let everyone speak and try and make sure that I'm not moving the topic on before someone's had the chance to come in. Somewhat, so that's fine. I think the only other thing that I kind of had on in terms of a little kind of talking points or whatever. Again, Laird had a fantastic thread that went out yesterday or the day before yesterday, depending on my memory and time zones and whatever as well. And I had a video on the channel doing something a bit similar, but it feels like in this international break, everyone has had that little reflection moment of, hold on, how well am I doing? What have I done? What's went right? What's went wrong? And maybe made some adjustments there around it. I personally had some really lofty ambitions for winning in-season cards in Classic that have not happened at this stage of the season. And, I've had to kind of adjust and evaluate from there on. So I think my expectations coming into this year was like winning cards wouldn't have became as difficult as it has now. But a card win, like actual winning a card, is super hard now, like straight off the leaderboard. And I definitely think in terms of preseason expectations versus reality, the ability to win a card for me was grossly overestimated, underestimated. I'm not too sure which it would be, but wrong.
There's just so many less to go around, though, isn't it? On the prizes, like, do you know what I mean? You might not have been underperforming. You're just in the same position. I'm not saying this is the exact, analogy, but like, there's just less cards being given out, isn't it? On whatever contender D1, where you were finishing 100th before, maybe getting a tier 4 or 5. Like, you have to finish 50th now, and everything's just kind of being pushed up, isn't it? Obviously, we've got the essence to kind of soften that. But yeah, no, it's not easy to win cards. Like, I found winning cards in like the specials and stuff quite not easy, but just easier than some of the regions a lot of the time. Like, I end up somehow just doing a bit better in those. But yeah, winning cards in regions is a thing of the past.
I think the other thing that makes it worse, I was thinking about this the other day, because the one thing that we don't talk about a lot with All-Star being gone is that when you have a gigantic player pool like everyone in All-Star, cards through tier 3 are like playable. And we went from a time where like when they had like when tier 5, when they introduced tier 4 and 5, tier 3s were like, oh, that's still a card I can use. And when they broke up into the regions, you get significantly fewer cards in each pool. Like when you just have contender cards, all of a sudden it's like, well, now tier 3 is mostly DNPs. And then you're like, so you win one of these and you're like, what the fuck is a tier 5? And then you realize there are hundreds of these cards that are just like, you cannot believe that these guys are professional football players. They may as well be Footium players. And I'm stealing that line from Harry.
More.
But like so there was a weird change in our own mindset that it became harder to win. And when we won what we thought was similar cards from before, tier 3s, which used to be good and now are mostly DNPs, it was like a double whammy on like when we actually won cards. Like it's harder to win, and what we win is worse. And it's mostly just because the player pool of where you play, it's probably fine in Champion and Prem and Bundesliga and La Liga. But like if you play true Sorare, like a real man, and play contender, that shit is hard.
Contender is hard. Andreas is coming in on this one, and I want to say, like, and totally in line with what you just said there, Laird, the biggest card win I got this year was an All-Star competition. I finished 10th. I got a tier 2, and it was Marvin Wanizek, who feels hard to imagine he's not a star in contender. And that's the kind of thing you used to get in All-Star. If you picked up a tier 3, a tier 2, like, they might not be the best player, but they're definitely going to be somebody handy, for the most part. And if you do get somebody that's in a bit of a backwater league, as it were, or a small-time division or whatever, like a Wanizek or a Cecilia. Cecilia was probably never in a tier 2 payout until maybe a bit more recently rather than longer ago. But I think it's more that what you're missing with that, Andreas, is like the star pool is still like quite confined. The tier 1 pool is still going to be quite confined. And then just generally the players then that spill over into all-star comps for tier 3, tier 2 and tier 3 are tier 1s in other regions, if not better, depending on how busy it is. My thoughts.
Yeah, I think I remember Paul from Sorare tweeting sometimes saying it works on percentages. So they put like, say, all of contender in a massive long list, and then the top 5 star, top 10% tier 1, and top so on. So like tier 3 from contender compared with tier 3 from Premier League is going to be just worlds apart in price.
Yeah, like a tier 3 contender is certainly a tier 5 in All-Star, you think, eh?
The tier 76.
Yeah.
Yeah. the floor's an issue as well, but like it'd probably be better if actually the minimum bid went up a wee bit. So like the moment, so Laird, you play Super Rare, right? So in season, you make a bid on an in season Super Rare. It could be somebody who's a collection piece, a tier 4, tier 5. You can go and bid on it, and the starting bid is 40 quid or 50 or $60, whatever the conversion is. But after you've got that or you win one, people are sending you offers for €5. So Sorare actually ought to actually control the floor. Now, obviously, you've got all these limited cards and they're all selling for like 50 pence or whatever, like, but what would be the actual problem with just saying the minimum price of a Sorare limited is $3 and just saying you can't send a bid for less than $3. And obviously, there's a lot of guys there that aren't actually worth that, but you might have to bring in some sort of burn function that doesn't, like, people talk about burners and stuff, and it's almost as if like, oh yeah, so we'll just burn like fucking all these guys and I'll burn like 20 tier 5s and I'll get an Mbappe or whatever. Like that is much worse for the game than just having loads of shite cards. But the problem is that there's too much supply. So when someone comes into Sorare and they sign up and they go in and they look and they say, right, I can buy 5 guys for 50 pence each, that's not ideal. If you came in and you thought, like, it's going to cost me 20 quid for a team of 5, everybody would be fine with that. But the problem is you've got millions of cards sitting on the market just now that people are listing for like whatever the minimum bid is. So you're going to have to address that. You're going to have to either get rid of the cards or find a way to make them worthwhile in some way. And obviously collections have some sort of like usage because people don't want to get rid of their collections, but there's got to be a minimum somewhere. Like it's like I seen somebody messaged Laird and said, I'm going to cancel my subscription because I don't want to pay $100 a year because my cards are worth fuck all. This is not worth spending. Your Sorare data site is brilliant, but I don't want to spend $100 because in a year I'm only going to win like 15 quid. Like we've got to actually get a bit of value back in, and obviously that's not our job, but like we've got to do that. Like, what do we do? Do we just find a floor in some way, or I don't know? People will retire soon. We'll get the Saudi license, or we'll just let everybody just send everyone to Saudi and just say, right, whole Premier League, you just go to Saudi, and then that's the supply fucked. All the stars are in Saudi. We're not going to cover you, so you're out, and then we'll just create a new star pool, and people will have to actually buy them. Like, there's a whole supply and demand type thing here, and there's hundreds of thousands of people in Sorare, like users, but there's too many cards.
Money Mike's on form tonight as well. There is less supply this year. We did cut off the Turkish league. We did cut off the Liga 2. They did cut off a lot of different bits and bobs coming into this year. So yeah. Maybe you do lose a bit of quality with that. Andreas is still quite vehement on this. I think the way I'll say it, right, is like, for me to win Wanazek in Contender has to be a star. But in the global situation, like getting to tier 2 isn't that unimaginable, in terms of where you're talking about the play spots, typically top 40 or so. And the Glevola card from Contender, from Challenger, from Champion, everything that goes into the tier 2 pool, then it's just way better. The tier 1s are better, the stars are better. But like, if you think about Prem or Champ, their tier 2s and tier 3s are going to be better than Contenders, sure, but none of them are going to be Wanazek, So if you're playing All-Star and you're mixing your team from everywhere in the world, you want as many guys of Wanazek or better, guys that are doing 70 pluses. So we're maybe saying the same thing, but I don't know if we are or not. It doesn't feel like it. 72-hour SD memberships in the boxes, Laird. Thoughts and feelings on that? That's someone who's got. That's someone who signed an NDA. That's what that is.
Mourinho meme.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea.
I think you've
I wouldn't.
about this before though, like on stream, not like in length. Well, I think you've mentioned like that the idea was flirted with, but that was it, or something like that.
It was definitely spoke about, like not even flirted. Like we've discussed it with them, and it was originally supposed to be for coins. Coins was like, well, it was one of the first things they announced that. So that was one of the tricky things, that it was like when it might have been when they announced coins, and they were like, yeah, you can get all this stuff for the club shop and like Sorare data memberships, and we were like, really? Okay. And so we wanted to talk to them about it, and they ultimately make the decision. And
yeah, sounds like a great idea.
I love the idea.
Love it. But yeah, I feel like I kind of derailed it with the whole T2 thing there. Sorry about that. But apologies.
I think I do agree with what Andreas was saying, to be honest, that it kind of is a contender issue. Like, as much as like people who play contender to like the majority of people I see complain on Twitter about getting a card that's worthless is because they've crafted their contender essence and they've got a tier 3 and it is worthless. But that is the bottom 50% of the prize pool. That's just that's what happens when you play contender. You've got to kind of accept that. Like, if I play Prem and I've got Prem essence, I know I'm going to get someone I'm aware of that probably plays for like a Nottingham Forest or something like that. Whereas if you do that in contender, you're going to get someone from the middle of nowhere in Austria or something like that. Kind of got to accept that, even though like they might not play, they're still part of the bottom 50%.
Fair, I think, but like, yeah, that's very true. But I just think like the global prize pool, just the tiers feel better. They feel more accurate just because there's stuff to the brim.
Yeah.
Of more quality. Although like, the point is correct, like it is a challenger issue because the challenger doesn't have as much quality across it per club, per league, per anything. So yeah, definitely accept that. And I'm just using tier 2 as an example, so it's fresh in my mind, and I've kind of had that come to me myself recently. I was going to say as well, by the way, on this kind of announcement and pitch notes we got, McBride, I am doing my best to make sure that this is going to be named after you, but there's a McBride warning or a McBride banner that's going to come on now when you are approaching 550 essence. How does that make you feel?
I don't think anybody else will be there soon, to be honest. It's a bit mad. Like, the thing is, like, at that point where you were getting quite sort of close to the end and stuff, there was like a beat the target thing, and you know, you could have been quite close and won the jackpot or whatever, and it's like, do you want to be at like 400 and you can't pick the 200 targets? You're going to leave like 50 out and stuff. So it was all kind of it was all a bit wild, and just I don't know. We don't want to spend a whole night pissing in Sorare, but if you look at the new UI and the lineup builder and stuff, like, you go in and like there's bits of it that look a bit better, but it kind of looks as if it's like, oh yeah, we want to have a link in so that people can buy cards for the market. And then you go in, you start picking your lineups, and you're like, fuck. Yeah, I need to filter out guys that don't have a game. Oh, fuck it. Like, well, why would I want to pick somebody that's not got a game? And then filter out guys that are in our lineup. And even if you leave it off that, like, the guys who are in our lineup, it's like a wee bit at the bottom, and it's hard to see. And it's like, this is not game focused. Like, this is developed by somebody that's sitting in an office going, how can we get guys to buy cards that they don't need, or they do need because they're going to have to fill their lineup? It's like, fucking develop the game for people who are actually going and buying people for lineups. Like, it's so, like, the UI is like, it looks nice, but it is bollocks to use. And like, honestly, like, see if you go into a new lineup builder, like, it looks quite good on a PC or whatever. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, that looks a bit better. You try and use it in your phone, it's shit. And you go in on the PC, first thing you do, you go in, you start pick a team, you go into your next team, and then you go into that team, and the guys you picked in the first team are still on the page. Who developed that? Stevie Wonder, like fucking.
I forgot he was a Sorare ambassador. Do you know that?
That's like, but it's a kind of like an indication of like what happens. Like it'd be like somebody like people will be sitting Sorare towers going, oh yeah, it's like why are people not buying cards, or why do people not like classic, or why are people selling up or whatever? And you're going, well,
not that it undermines anything, McBride. But what phone do you have? Are you on iOS? Are you Android? What do you have?
iOS, but
iOS.
the
Just
same thing
curious.
happens.
Because I looked at it on mine. Mine was okay, so I was just curious.
Yeah, but like if you go in on like PC, right, and you in your lineup builder and you pick your first team, you pick your second team, the default setting is that the guys you picked in your first team still show up in the lineup builder. You have to go in, toggle it for like no game, and toggle it for used already.
I noticed that with
user friendly.
When I put my training lineups in, it popped up, and there was I don't even remember what card it was, and I was like, I swear I put him in a lineup. Went back to Sorare data, saw it in my lineup that I just exported, then went to Sorare, took the 35 minutes to find the lineup because I had to scroll, because it was U23, so I had to scroll through everything, and then realized he was in a lineup, then went back to training and realized that the used in another lineup was like automatically on, and it was like, why would you ever want that on?
Yeah,
the biggest fuck up they've done with this is, I'll just say this quickly, Charlie, but the biggest fuck up they've made with this is when you go to training, you can't filter it now by card level. So you can't take it down from 20 to 19 anymore and make sure you avoid your max levels. That's gone.
No, I did it today.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would maybe give them the benefit of the doubt on that everything's ticked, and that's probably a mistake, is my guess. Because I don't think anyone's intentionally done that, because I think everything's ticked.
Yeah.
So like,
but I don't mean to be too bad, Charlie, but why fucking roll something out?
I agree.
Right, so it's like I usually have a rule, right? Like, see if it's not right, just don't let it go.
Yeah,
you can make mistakes. Me and Quinny, we were talking beforehand. Quinny had a bit of fucking Big Mac on his beard, right? But see, when he came out here for the stream, he was professional, with his headphones on, he was getting his comb over. I was sitting going, I've woke up like this.
I'll comb over you.
Nobody's seen anybody with a Big Mac on their beard. But Sorare fucking chuck it out. And it's like, yes, we've got millions of people here, millions of people spending 40 million a year in cards. We're just going to fuck that out there. And then we'll see what happens then. Like, make sure it's right before you send it out. How hard is it? Don't, just... People have been complaining about the UI. If you're sitting in like Sorare's office and people are sending in feedback saying this UI is shite, the first thing you're going to do is make sure it's working before you send it out. Don't send out shite. Honestly, it's so annoying. Like, but I'd like phone Quinny and say, Quinny, you know that McBride is a pain in the arse, right? He's just fucking slagging it off on Twitter. Going to test this and make sure that it's working before we send it out to McBride's, and everybody else in the Sorare sphere going to test it, make sure it's working, and then send it out. Yeah. But every single time we send out stuff that doesn't actually work, and then they'd wonder why like people are actually complaining. There's a huge sentiment issue here. People in Classic are like, their cards are going down and they're not enjoying the game or whatever. And then they log into the site and there's something that's not working. And it's like, it's all these wee kind of chipping away. Like the start of the season was really good. Like, it was really good. We had like early access. Everybody was buzzing. You had hype. You had stuff that was developing. Everybody was doing really well. It feels like just now, every time you walk into a game week, somebody's fucking just like coming along, just fucking like hitting you with an Arctic truck. Like, oh, right, yes. What's happening now? I'm sort of logging both like something else not working. Like, need to actually like just get back to basics and just make sure stuff's working. That's the way I feel about it. Like honestly, it's just not a fun experience at the moment. Like
Yeah, I feel like they used to with the UI stuff. They used to roll it out to like a small percentage of the user base like a few days earlier. I feel like they've stopped that.
yeah, I don't know why they're not doing it. Like
Yeah, like I know even like Sorare does it where like that gets features like a week early or whatever. Like it just kind of makes sense to let people test it out.
Yeah.
But send it to somebody. Don't
Yeah, I agree.
Like
I did just check training, by the way. They must have updated it since I did my training, but the level 20 thing is there. So I take it back. But when I did my training teams, I promise you, it wasn't there. And I had to remember he doesn't normally show up in training, and just not him.
I did mine like 10 minutes before the deadline.
Yeah.
So
brave.
Anytime before that, I can't speak to. You're calling me brave? I've seen your show.
That's why I know you're brave. And you know, I messed up as well on the deadline. I should have had some deadline drama today, because I said to Harry when we came on, it's like, oh, those Valencia boys might be 50-50. And I had them in a D4 in-season team trying to go for the bottom division, try and clip something. And I never went back and looked at it. I just let it roll out. So I'm now fully at the mercy of Valencia rotation. I've not tried to put my goalkeeper somewhere else and try and make it a bit safer or whatever. So just doing this now, which I'm not used to doing with some of my teams. But yeah, it is brave, Laird, and that's coming from experience.
There's no sweat like watching you and Harry try to get lineups in, as you can see the ticker on the side just count down 10, 9, 8. And you're like, only 3 more lineups to go. And I'm like, oh my God.
I don't think Harry's ever broke a sweat. I don't think Harry's broke a sweat.
I don't think I have.
Even
But you've had some close calls, haven't you? Like I remember the one where Black was commenting in the chat. I don't know why, it just always sticks out to me. And he was like, "Quit! What are you doing?" Like he was just flabbergasted at like how close you left the one lineup. Honestly, it always sticks out to me. I don't know what the lineup was, but yeah, it was funny times.
But even when you are like against the clock, you're just like, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
I've got 40 seconds. I'll be okay. Yeah, I'll be 40 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you do yours first, don't you? Normally.
Yeah. Normally,
and
yeah.
Quinny does his, so
he's against it, isn't he? He's up against it.
I'm beginning to think Andreas works for Sorare.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is that
100%. 100%. How do you know? Unless you were involved.
He's conducted tests, but like it's not like the right testing group. So like for me, the whole UI thing is like we'll make it look good, but it's just not like it's not that good to actually use. Like when someone says you've got to put in 3 lineups or use all your cards or whatever, it's going to increase the volume. So from a user's point of view, like you want like it to be convenient to be able to use. From Sorare's point of view, they're thinking about marketing. They're thinking about, I was going to say something there, but not say it. They're thinking about perception and like marketing and how people are looking in, and we're thinking about like this is shite to use and like classic's not very good, and like it's just there's a big sort of disconnect just now, and it's like, okay, we're building something, but why not build something that's like community centric, and then when people come in and they're using it and they go through it, it's good and they can use it and it's fun. But if you get people in that looks good and they come in and start using it shite, then it's not so good. So it's like this whole theme of like we'll just like not think about existing users as much. We'll think about getting new users in, and we'll think about in season and stuff. And there's got to be like a kind of pullback on that, because people will chase the money, they'll chase the cash. Like like Quinny, we were having a chat about it, and you were saying like my expectations are not too big in season because I'm still dealing with my classic cards, and I'm happy to go along that line or whatever. But the best prizes in terms of what you can actually get now are actually in the end season cash, and people will follow that. So it's just feels as if like there's just we're in a transition, but also Sorare have got to get back in touch with people in terms of what they're kind of looking to actually want in that transition and try and balance that, because like, you know, if people are just sitting pressing those boxes or whatever for the next like 5 or 6 weeks, that's not going to get them their Christmas money into Sorare or whatever. Like fucking like everybody's going to be sitting at Christmas going, is the darts on, or it's like
Yeah. I think that just reminded me of how we started this tangent. It was like pre-season expectations versus reality. Wayne, how did you feel coming into this season? Like, did you have a plan? Did things go, you know?
Yeah,
did
I
you
actually
readjust?
put a video out on the channel of my goals for the season, and within 2 weeks they'd all changed. Obviously, with what happened with Classic and everything. Yeah, last year I sold all my rare cards. I sold everything, like, because so rare for me. It was about enjoyment of the game. It wasn't for what I returned. It didn't bother me whether I won a competition, what card I won. I just enjoyed playing so rare. So I thought I'd have more enjoyment if I was playing with the top tier limited cards instead of rares. So I bought the Judes, I bought the Mbappes, every best player, every star really was in my gallery. And yeah, obviously, start of this season, they all turned classic, and yeah, it just went down the pan really. So there, I transitioned from that, and now I just play Premier League. I've got 4 or 5 collections that are Premier League in season, and I've still got 4 or 5 collections that are classic. And I rotate the players in and out each game week, and I think I've been on a run of 5-6 game weeks now of winning cash each week and in season. So yeah, it's worked out quite well. But still got all the Villa collections. Obviously, they're going nowhere. They're still in the gallery. A lot of the cards don't get used much because we haven't been as good this season at the moment. But hopefully we could turn it around against Palace this weekend.
So what did you think it was that made you make that switch? Was it harder to win money or cards, or what was it that made you think, I need to do this and do that?
Well, I think everybody thought Classic was going to be easier, and it was. I think it upset a lot of people if they did it, but I think one of the biggest mistakes they did was putting boxes into in-season. I think if that was just in Classic, because everybody was content with winning cash in season. I don't think anybody asked for boxes in season. If that was just in Classic, it could have been double the essence in the boxes, and you've got a way of progressing into in season. And I think given it in season and Classic, they give out too much in one go. And obviously, and then they had to reduce it, and all the shit hit the fan. Everybody's moaning. So yeah, but I think if they'd never put boxes in season, I think they would have been in a lot less trouble than they are now, and they wouldn't have had to reduce the essence so much.
Perhaps, yeah. Good shout.
Yeah, I think they shat it, to be honest. I think like when it was over the summer, it was like we're just going to throw everything in season. So it was like, you know, all the promotions were like essence related or extra cards or that type of thing. So, and it, like I get that, because obviously you've got this sort of hype period where you start the season and you've got to sell a lot of the cards and get the money in and things. And obviously there was also the commitment towards paying out cash along the whole season. So you can only commit to that if you get a good whack of money in at the start of the season. So like, I do understand it, but I feel as if it's just kind of went over the edge. Like, and you can still tempt people to spend a bit of money if they're enjoying it, but you don't have to kind of almost force them to spend it, if that makes sense. Like the Champions League nights and stuff is like you need 4 in-season cards, and then the international break you needed 4 in-season cards. But who has actually optimized their gallery in season for internationals? Like, you don't. You optimize it for like Celtic mainly for me, or Liverpool, or from Manchester United, but they're all from different sort of like clubs. So if you have your first international break, you've got to have like a 3 and 2 or 2 and 3 or whatever, because like, okay, you want to encourage people to buy cards, but look at it, you go, I've got 1 card, I need to buy 4, and just like, I'll just do something else.
I do think they made a mistake with the Champions League one, where like I said to them when they were on the stream with me, like I seen what they went for. Like, the Champions League's the biggest thing in club football. it could be one of the biggest Sorare competitions that you run. They put money, they put boxes, they put cards. It had everything in it. And the main problem with that was there was no classic equivalent at all. And it was a 4 season requirement. So if you had classic Champions League cards, Europa Leagues and all that, they were just dust, you know. And I said to them at the time when they were on the thing, like, if they made it 3 and 2, they probably could have managed it and it would probably just about worked. But limited and rare level, I'm talking here with the numbers, of course, because that's what pretty much everyone thinks about these days. But instead they kind of, you know, in the end, ended up just splitting it down the middle and making a classic and an in-season familiar to what we see at the weekends. But I do make you right, McBride, on that kind of note that I think at the beginning of the season, they wanted to go balls to the wall. They wanted to make it impressive. They wanted everyone to be buzzing. They wanted to really make the leaderboards jump and shine, really. And I think they've just got to really walk it through a little bit further with some of these things. Like the Champions League thing could have just stayed the same, really. It'd have been a super competition, you know what I mean? But when it is 4 in season, Champions League match day 1 is like right after the end of the transfer window. How many weeks has there been of card sales and opportunities for people to win and move their gallery on? Not that much for the masses. So just kind of limited access then at that point, and that's why they had to backtrack on it.
The feeling I get is that they're kind of scared to really switch stuff up with like a big comp like they did with the Champions League. Like I feel like they got a bit of backlash off that, and then they're like, oh shit, we'll go back to what we normally do in season classic. Like I feel like with some of the competitions they've got to just switch stuff up and try something different, like they kind of try to do with the Champions League one. I know it got backlash because it's super difficult to get in before in season, but it's gonna make all the prices go up if it's really exclusive and there's not many people playing.
I love how everyone talks about prices going up. That like honestly, like for me, it's almost as if like the classic stuff's just an afterthought. It's like, all right, we'll add this in now, and all right, people are complaining now. We'll think about this. If you're having a model, you've got to think about, okay, we've got in season, we want to sell cards, but think about the whole model. And in users' heads, we're thinking just now we're in November, we'll have a good time, we'll come up to Christmas, we've got the MLS coming, and then what's going to happen with cards towards the end of the season. So, like, the elephant in the room is Classic's not very good just now. What are you going to reward at the end of the season in Classic? Because those cards only have like 5-6 games in season. So, like, I looked earlier and there was like, Laird, you won't like this. There was like a Marco Reus. There was a Moreno Super Rare in-season cards went for 40 quid in Super Rare. Wow. 40 quid. So, like, at the end of the season, there's not demand. So, in that respect, Sorare have got it right because they want to sell a lot of cards at the start of the season. But in this model, what actually are you going to reward at the end of the season? So, that we haven't created the model. So, that's maybe why you've got this sort of fusion of different seasons, because Sorare thought, well, you know, if you have like start of the season, the end of the season, it's not so good. So you can mix seasons together. But European season wise, like, there's no solution to that. Like, you know, you've got the Club World Cup or whatever, and maybe been saved a bit by the Euros. But, you know, Bruno Fernandes is going to be like 50 quid in May or whatever. Like, you know, like, you can quote me on it if you want. Like who's going to buy like a fucking Bruno Fernandes classic in rare in May? Because like the prizes are shit. So you've got to think about that and think about allocating some of the money or whatever to making sure that there's still a bit of demand. And then you've got your early access and you go into next season. Maybe you could do expire the essence or whatever and say, right, you've got to use your essence by a certain date, and then you can win some essence for the...
Don't give them ideas. Don't give them ideas like that.
No, I know, but Quinny, see when you get to the end of the season, like what's going to be actually worth winning? Because see, in the past, it was always a problem, right? Because you won a classic card, you won a really good card, and you knew the 5% season bonus was going to come. But now the whole premium value of in-season cards is because you can win cash. So as soon as you get to that point where it drops off, like last couple of games, like
Yeah, fair.
you,
But we don't want essence expiring.
no,
It's like U23 guys running out, like winning like a U23 guy in June, and then he's 24 and on July 2nd.
But there's not really any under 23 premium now.
Well, now not, yeah.
Classic. Like it's like there's not.
As long as Gary doesn't have his way.
Yeah. Well, maybe
They scrapped it, I heard.
That's something to change.
Which one?
They wouldn't do that.
I meant your in-season U23 idea.
Okay. Yeah, they need to bring that in.
That needs to happen. Definitely.
Yeah, they definitely do want to get rid of U23. Like, I don't actually know that, but like it was very clear that they did, and everybody they talked to was like, "Why would you ever do that?" And they were like, "Shit." All right.
That just shows it. That's just they just show you, didn't it? If there's not a disconnect, then
fucking stupid they are.
I like the idea of splitting it into three, to be honest, of splitting it into champ U23, challenger U23, contender U23, personally. I think that would add a real premium to like the top guys.
I've never heard that idea.
No, neither have I. That's a new one to me.
It's a fun one.
What do you mean, doing like an in-season, Charlie, or just
no, just scrapping U23 and then
just making sure your Croatian U23s can't win Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate all of that
type of model.
I hate all of it. Like the whole thing is like, obviously it's an overall model, but when you buy somebody, it's like say 18 or whatever, and like say Ansu Fati, right? He was like the next Yamal or the previous Yamal, and he's been rubbish. And people would have paid like a couple £100 for Ansu Fati, and Sorare would never have paid out any money on that because it's been shit. And Reece James was like the Trent that could defend, and he's got a hamstring injury, and you've got to have some aspirational buys. Like where in all of this are Sorare going to make money? Like Wonder Kids type guys, like, you know, this like it's not rocket science. So like if they scrap the under 23s, that would be one of the worst moves in Sorare history. After all the other moves for the last year and a half that they've fucked up. Like honestly, like when I think about what the model is here and what people actually like you can't just give people what they like all the time in terms of giving them money. But what do people enjoy?
Money, cards, cool cards, fun cards,
Wonder Kids,
cool rookies,
their own team collecting, like reward that stuff. Like if they scrap it under 23s, like there'd be another wave of people like walking away from the platform. Like it's just like it's bonkers stuff. Honestly, like if you had like a under 23s comp in season, and you just said you need like say 3 in season cards for under 23s, you would get premium goalkeepers again, premium Yamals. You'd make more money from that than you would lose. There's no premium for under 23 goalkeepers at the moment.
The only way I could see in season under 23 is if they did 5 in season requirement. Like they just went hardcore on it and just went, if you want it, you're paying for it, you know. Because like the guys were saying, I remember from the All-Star thing going away, like there was a real focus on them with this new structure to have like the prize pool as like laser focused as possible, so that it wasn't like All-Star, Pro, U23, Pro, Champ, Challenger, Pro, it's all kind of everywhere. They, you know, a lot of the wording I got from them was they wanted it to be like in front of you, like this is all the prizes, go for it kind of thing. And and again, part of that chat was, you know, like I was saying there, like All-Star was on the block, it obviously went. Champ Asia was on the block, it went. Champ America was on the block, it went. And under 23 was like the only one that they couldn't revamp or remodel, as it were, because there's just no other way of doing that division. And really, if you look at a lot of the cards that are competitive in that division, with no under 23, they're nobody. Like they're not getting used in Champ. They're not getting used in Champ. There's some guys that will, but a lot of them are not. You know, so it's And it is the last global competition we have. So Charlie's idea is out in my book, because then that's just following uniform with what we have. But under 23 is definitely one of the kind of bits of fairy dust that's in the platform, I think, because like it's weird, right? Actually, just on a side point, I've looked at under 23 cards that are in season, and I would expect them to be cheaper, like than an in-season midfielder that's over 23, if you get me, because I know they've got more utilities than playing in our division technically, but they're under 23 cards that work are very distinct. You know, it's like your Veerman types and all the rest of it, and everyone else is just kind of hope they've got a good game, you know, and you pick them at the right time. It's that kind of game you're playing with them. Whereas like established guys that you would play in champion in season will play, you know, an under 23 guy might get rotated and that kind of thing. So under 23 pricing for me has been a bit unusual in some ways. I'd expect
I'll be honest, I actually did buy U23, someone for U23, and I purposely bought it in season because it gives you that flexibility of
with the region or whatever. Yeah.
I've been doing that in my Road to Glory. Well, like if there's not much difference between the in-season and the classic, just buy the in-season because there's more upside in it. If it does end up popping off and doing well over a couple of games and I go on to sell him, well, the in-season is going to be more expensive than the classic. So why wouldn't you just pick him up if he's a couple, you know, I think it was that Klein Hansel left back in the Bundesliga too. It was like 50p for the classic, 80 pence for the in-season. This is limited, obviously. You're obviously just going to buy the in-season because there's just way more upside.
Yeah. Classic will get worse because a lot of classic cards are probably like overpriced. Like people are comparing it to previous prices and stuff. Like so, like at the moment, like some classic cards are actually overpriced. So you should actually be buying the in-season version. So like I don't mind like under 23s wise, like even if they kept it classic and just like bumped up the sort of podium prizes or whatever, like that would be good. You know, like just say like, all right, like make the like the under 23 rare podium prizes are less than a lot, like 7 or 8 out of 10 of the limited comps. So make it as if when you move up through the scarcities you win a bit more. Okay, it's classic, but it's under 23s, so you don't have to do it in season, but make it something that's worthwhile to win. Like that would be good. I know you win the in-season cards, like I get that, but there's some chatter about that as well. Just make it like worthwhile. Just make it saying we only harm ourselves speaking about negativity. Like that's been the whole discourse. Like if it you do it as well. You're always complaining about super rare as well. Like I'd like to talk about energy, about moving things forward and stuff, but we need to make some changes to that. So.
Yeah. I'm firmly much more of a positive person generally, but some of the talking points we have is like, sorry, I've just announced some stuff. Some of it's been quite reactionary with the 50k classic thing. We've got the mystery comp, and they're reminding us again that in February there might be some tweaks and some alterations and whatever. So, yeah, it does feel like there's a wee bit of negativity in there around it, but I think it's just there's been a lot kind of moving goalposts, a wee bit of changing tides, and a few other kind of things like that where, you know, people go in one direction, like Wayne was talking about with his cards, you know, and then you realise you're, and me, like I've done, if you've seen the video, or Laird, if you've seen his thread, and you kind of see like you've been down a path and maybe need to alter course or whatever. And the last thing anyone wants is that to kind of repeat itself a little bit. So it feels like when you're given criticism or suggestion, it does generally take on a slightly negative tone, but I don't think anyone's, except for McBride, of course, but I don't think anyone is overtly negative or upset about too much. It's just more suggestion, criticism, feedback, I would say. In an effort to try and close us out on a positive, okay, what are we positive about?
I mean, as much as there is obviously a lot of things to be fixed, like I still think the game's in the best place it's ever been. Like, if I'm being honest, like I have the most fun that I've ever had playing the game, despite prices not being where they were 3 years ago or whatever. Like the actual game and the strategy and the like, it's a fun model. It's just not fun to like be brought up in, if that makes sense. It's a nice model to come into, you know.
Yeah.
And then like you don't want to inherit it, you want to just walk into it basically. And yeah, I think the game's class. Like it's a really fun game. But we've been around for so long that we're gonna have gripes with it. We're gonna have, you know, certain problems with it, just in the nature of being around for quite a while. You know, if you come into this game brand new, like Laird did a little video about just like explaining what Sorare is in like a couple of minutes, and like sounds like a fun, like it is a sick game. Like can't really do that anywhere else. Like name me where that happened. It doesn't. So it's like it's great. Like it is class, but we're just sort of not spoiled, but we're just used to things being a certain way and, you know, demanding thing. I don't know. It's a complicated situation, isn't it, for us longer term users, I think, and any users, well, you know, whatever. But I think the game's class. Like it's a very fun game. Obviously, it has loads of things wrong with it, but it has tons of things that are great with it. So, you know, it's one of them, right?
Yeah, I think one thing I really enjoy is the league specific comps. Like I think that's personally the best thing they've introduced. It feels like you don't have to score 90 plus with every player to get a top reward. It's about the teams that you're up against. You don't have to keep track of what's happening in Russia, if Zenit are winning 5-0 or whatever. Or, like you just like I find it like the best. It's the bit I most enjoy personally. Like not just Premier League that I play mostly, but like I'm starting to play La Liga only competition now.
That's great.
I think a big thing with Zenit there, you gave me a big member berry, Charlie, but a big part of the Zenit thing, right, they were so dominant, they had such great scorers, right, but they were really dangerous to all of us when they didn't get new season cards, and every Zenit card in existence was on 15% or more, you know. So it wasn't just that Wendell was ripping it and you know Douglas Santos and whatever, but they were also like 10% better than any other card to start off with. So it was like it's real battle scars have been left behind from the Zenit boys, I think. But I just got to be member berry there. I thought I'd share that. Sorry. I quite echo what Harry was saying. I said this in one of Laird's streams. I think it might have been today or yesterday, but I have eclipsed my all-time high of cards ever. So I used to have limiteds, of course. I had like 120 limiteds, long sold, long gone. But I now have more cards than ever before. And Mike has got pretty much the same kind of point here in the chat. For me, it's a real buyer's market. See if you know your onions, you know what players you want, you know who can make a difference to your gallery. Like, there's not really much stopping you getting who you want, precisely who you want, kind of when you want, within reason, of course, with real world means or whatever. And that was a part of the game I quite liked, that it wasn't like you could just have anyone and everyone's got the same teams and whatever. But it is also frustrating sometimes when you did have the money, but there was just no cards available, or everyone, like I heard Andrew's talking about today, everyone's in Pavel mode where I don't care that last sale was £400. This one's going for £4,000, you know, and just not budging it. So I'm certainly a lot more positive about the actual gameplay. I really, really enjoy lineup building, not just for myself, but for other people, if in case some of these have maybe caught. And yeah, winning is just maybe not quite got the same spice to it for me, because I've just not had the success yet this year because of the way my gallery is and strategy and all that. But like actual card getting, like yeah, I've probably not had more fun than I have now. I've been selling my gallery for the last 3 years or something. You know, I'm actually buying cards for it again, which has been lovely. Yeah. We're trying to finish on a somewhat positive note, McBride. Anything for us, or anyone else that's yet to chime in, of course.
Sorry, I'm trying to finish a deal here that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
A second, hold on.
Laird, wheeling and dealing. Love that.
Trying. Seeing how much crap I can send to a bot.
Oh, I love that. It's my favorite game.
Yeah.
I love that part of the game. I really do.
Yeah. Do you know what? But see now, they've got pretty cheeky. They take ones out and then they say, I'm not taking that at all. I wouldn't even give you anything for it.
I noticed that. Yeah. Like fuck that guy. Shit.
Hey.
Don't even want him.
So, since I have you guys here, if there was any reason to not get rid of these cards, and if you've never heard of these players, that's okay too. Leandro Barrero.
50-50.
Is that the centre mid?
Yeah.
Maybe. Florent Muslija, who has some sort of international duty because I played him in a lineup, having no idea where he's from still.
I'm going to say Kosovo.
Vincent Sierro. Harry
Chiaro?
Boy What's that?
Toulouse.
Is it like Chiaro?
Sierra.
No, he
Yeah,
played
Toulouse.
today, I think.
He took a set piece once, so I bought him. Tarek Buckman, who's a youngster from
boy.
Bayern,
Yeah.
supposedly. Harry's boy Jocelyn Jana, who's at where is he? Bastia,
Yeah.
and Josip Misic, who I have heard of. Any reason not to get rid of those cards?
I don't think you'll miss them.
Nah.
All right. Well, they're gone now.
Deal done.
And hold on. All right, deal's done. I'm the new owner of a Giovanni Di Lorenzo jersey mint.
Ooh. Is that to go with your Buongiorno?
And Merit.
I'm on the Napoli defensive stack as well.
And I also added a Rafa Marin jersey mint today as well.
I was going to say you need to get a Rafa Marin, because if he gets into that team, he'll be a really good scorer. But he's not got into the team yet. That's a good show.
Laird, I think you should reactivate the Sorare data bot and put it for like jersey mints and stuff.
I embarrassingly look for jersey mints more than I should for players. I actually have a screen open right. That's how I found this Di Lorenzo one. But I just go on the Sorare data market tab and I just hit jersey mints and I just see what's out there.
You should put that on Twitter. It's like somebody's traded like the jersey mint, because that's like more like actual real life sort of card trading. Quinny, we find positives. We're still here. Celtic are on Sorare, and then we're back in tomorrow night, and we're going to bash
24 hours will be top, McBride, with me versus you again. The eternal war that never ends.
Hearts are bottom of the table at the moment, I think, but actually a lot better than that would suggest, to be honest. So I Bayern 1-0, did they? Bayern
2, they've just scored 2-0.
Nice.
3-0.
3-0.
3.
I was going to say as well, I seen that Kang In did not start, which then it just hammers home. We all know this. If he's predicted to start, he doesn't. If he's not predicted to start, he will. So it's just
Quinny,
pure
guess who
fault.
got sent off at Augsburg?
Oh, who are we talking about? Osberg.
You mentioned him earlier.
I did. I
Kane
mentioned
scored
like
again,
two
by the way.
guys. I mentioned two guys. Fuck it. I blanked. Who?
He's got a brother.
Schlotterbeck.
Yeah.
No. Was it Schlotterbeck?
Yeah.
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 The other
He got red
Schlotto.
carded.
Oh jeez.
That's not good.
Leon
I hadn't-
Goretzka, 95th minute assist.
Leon Goretzka! Get it up, you PSU! Get it up there.
83.8.
What's Kimmich on? Tell me.
77.7.
Yes!
I captained Goretzka this game week, so yeah.
Captain fucking Goretzka. Get up, you PSU!
I bet that's brutal on Dubrovic. 2 goals in like the 93rd and 5th minute.
He's on like 50 AA, bless him.
Yeah, I know.
36 AA, still not bad. But 3 goals.
Wayne, I need a
scored.
positive from you, buddy.
Positive.
We're on a great roll here. Goretzka greater than Kimmich.
Do we do a Frimpong anytime goal scorer this weekend?
Mate, they're playing Heidenheim. But yeah, Wayne, we've not got a positive out of you. I think I've maybe got it. I don't know if Laird's card flip counts, but maybe it does. Yeah, Laird's maybe got another one cooking.
Yeah, Celtic are still on Sorare. Like that's.
Your name's not Wayne.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said McBride. Sorry, Wayne. Aston Villa. On.
Yeah, I did a positive from me. I know there was a lot of controversy around it at the start, but I think the European Nights competitions midweeks have been really good. After they added the Classic as well, everybody thought it was just going to be in season. And yeah, I probably had my best game week when we beat Bayern at Villa Park. So yeah, it's been a really good positive for me. And yeah, looking forward to Villa Celtic in January.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm coming down for that as well.
You coming down? Oh, me
Yes.
to Villa Park. You coming, Quinny?
I've not got a ticket, but maybe I might just end up in Birmingham. You know,
Yeah.
could just be one of those nights.
When he's in the car, man.
It's not that bad a drive. See, when we went to Villa Palace, wasn't
Villa
it?
Palace,
Like,
yeah.
the drive wasn't that bad. You know, the stadium isn't. See, when you come off the motorway or the ring road or whatever it is down there, it's not that bad to get to the stadium. It's not like you need to go right into the heart of the metropolis.
No,
That's
know.
where we staying. Right in amongst the pubs.
yeah, we went with
Pubs
Stitch last
everywhere.
time we went, and we walked like 3.5 miles to get to a pub, which he picked from Villa Park.
Yeah.
It was miles away.
Yeah, Stish was like, because it was Crystal Palace, Stish was like, oh, I know the pub the Crystal Palace fans will be going to, my mate's there. So we were like, okay. And then, yeah, we walked for fucking ever to get there. By the time we got there, it was like, pint, we need to go, you know? But I absolutely love it. But yeah, we'll definitely, Celtic v Villa, last game of the Champions League, surely we're both qualified and it's just a bit of a party. And,
Hopefully.
that'll be a bit of a positive. And good thing Goretzka didn't show up to Villa Park. Obviously, he might not have got that win because, as we know, Goretzka's greater than Kimmich. Harry, yeah, I think we've got a positive out of everyone. Leonard, unless you want to give us another one on top of your amazing trade you've just pulled off.
It's still my favorite part of the game is trading cards. Just being like the bots make it easier. I wish more people did like for like trades with each other. But... What was that? I can't say it.
Maestro Goretzka. It's not.
Oh, Maestro. No, I'll echo what Harry said. Like, I think the game right now is just in a great spot. If you can attack it the way it should be, then yeah, it's a ton of fun. Absolutely.
That's it. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to cut us off here. Thanks to everyone that's joined us live on a Friday night for a bit of Go Fuck on a Friday night. And definitely felt that we got a wee bit of the Go Fuck part off of our chest. For the intro sequence in this, right, I had planned on using the original Go Fuck tweet, right? And I tweeted out a week ago or something saying, does anyone have it? Does anyone have the link to it? Does anyone know what it is? And someone gave me the link for it. And I was like, brilliant. Put that in the bank and we'll use that for when we get the show up and running. And anyway, I went to go get it for today. And the bastard's deleted it. So he's been tagged in this tweet. And my tweet, obviously, someone's went, oh, I've got it. You know, and they've linked me to it. The guy's got the notification and he's went, oh, go fuck. Fucking deleted it.
No way.
Crime
So
to the community.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go fuck everyone. Thanks again for everyone that showed up tonight.
Fucking go fuck.
Thanks, Quinny.